Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video because we are finally diving into the Cosmic Beauty 'Tis the Season collection. I absolutely love the bold color story on this palette, and Cosmic Beauty has some of the most stunning shimmers. So we are going to dive in, swatch, play around, and come up with this very stunning eye look. Now you guys, before we jump into it, if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell for notifications of new videos. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. But if you want to see how I got this look using the collection from Cosmic Beauty, just keep watching. Okay, you guys, today is Saturday. I have today off. I've been taking it pretty easy, went and got a workout in, and now I just want to play around with some makeup that I haven't had a chance to just dive into. I have the Cosmic Brushes 'Tis the Season collection that I purchased, but I haven't had a chance to play around with it because schedules are busy. But I still want to play around with it because the color story is gorgeous. Look at this. Just very vibrant, beautiful, luscious, purpley shades with some greens, a red, some really pretty. I'm interested to see what they look like when they're swatched. And I also have no idea what I want to do. I will say it looks like if you stick with the lines, you'll get a cohesive look. So if you want to do all green, you got the top. If you want more of like neutral browns, you go in the second row. This row is all the purples and then all the burgundy shades. Granted, I just play around and see what I want to play around with, but it looks like the lines are pretty cohesive if you weren't sure what you wanted to do and just dive into like monochromatic moments. All right, let me go ahead and swatch this because they're so vibrant and luscious. I want to see what they look like. Okay, you guys, now I'm really mad at myself that I did not play around with this palette sooner. The shades are absolutely stunning. I'm mesmerized by the shimmers that are in this palette, and Cosmic Brushes, or did they recently change to Cosmic Beauty? I can't remember, but I know that on the back it still says Cosmic Brushes. They have some of the beautiful, most beautiful, prettiest. I can't even speak right now. I'm just so flabbergasted with how stunning the shades are, and I love shimmers. The mattes were so buttery smooth, and just, I dipped my finger in, they were so creamy. I was kind of like, is this a cream to powder formula? Don't think it is, but the swatches are breathtaking. Now, looking at these shimmers, the shade Tinsel in the bottom row is absolutely beautiful. I love the gold to pink. There's part of me that's like, ooh, I want to play around with that bottom row and just see what it would look like if I used that entire row, including the shade Cranberries, which in the palette, it looks orange. On my arm, it looks like it has some gold, orange, and like the underlying tones of like a deep charcoal gray. It's not a true scarab shade, but the shade itself is very mesmerizing. And I kind of want to see how that would look with Cranberries in the middle and then Tinsel, the inner corner, blending into it. But then I also really like the purple line as well. Fairy Lights and Baubles, those two shimmers, so beautiful. I think they'll play very well together. And then even the second row with Hot Chocolate, Cookies, and Ginger. Cookies is more on the orange, but I love the shimmers that are in there. Celebrate is gorgeous, and I feel like I could get a really pretty look for work with Ginger, Hot Chocolate, and Celebrate. Keeping it neutral, keeping it toned down, but Celebrate is a gorgeous champagne shade, which I love and gravitate towards when it comes to my work makeup. The greens, very beautiful. I don't think I play around with green shades that frequently, but I feel like this palette itself, each row is very cohesive and you could get a look. It takes the thinking out of it if that's what you wanted to do. Sometimes I like to play around and do reds and then a pop of color somewhere else. I'm gonna have a hard time narrowing it down because I am mesmerized by each row. And I like that holly. So yes, it looks like it's black in the pan, but it is more of a deep, dark green, like a forest green. So I feel like each row has a shade that will deepen it up. Let me go wipe the swatches off, prime my eyes, and maybe I'll have decided which direction I want to go with this palette. I'll be back. Okay, I think I have a way forward, and I'm going to play around with one of the rows, which I don't normally do. I tend to play around with all the different shades and not just go in the palette direction, but we're going to try. I'm going to start with the shade Ribbon. This shade is very pale. I'm kind of like, do I want to play with something else? But then I'm looking at all of the lighter shades. Like Party is a very pale, like violet shade. Ginger's kind of tan, and then mistletoe is that lime green. They don't really go together. I could probably do party, and that would be really pretty, but I'm just gonna do the entire bottom row and see what it looks like. I'm very intrigued. By the time you guys see this, I will be probably about 60 days, maybe 70 days closer to being home. I just finally dipped under my 90-day mark before I return back to the States. And yes, I'm gonna miss the opportunities I've had, like traveling Europe and seeing different countries, but I really miss my friends. I miss Luke. I miss the animals. I miss being able to cook. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed cooking until I cooked Christmas dinner at a friend's house. And then I was just kind of like, okay, it's one thing to like stop at the shopette and grab a slice of pizza or like go out to dinner with friends, but to not be able to cook in the kitchen and like meal prep or stuff like that, it's just been really weird. And I love cooking. I love seeing what I can come up with, challenging myself with a recipe. And there's some of my favorite foods that I can make at home, and they just don't taste the same here, if that makes sense. All right, so there's like zero color payoff because I'm so pale. It kind of blends in with the primer that I have. The only thing it's gonna do is kind of like buffer the deeper, darker shades from like getting all the way up to my brow bone. I'm gonna go into the shade Stalking. I'm gonna pick it up on my fluffy crease brush. I'm gonna place it ever so slightly and see what it blends out to. I'm just placing it right here in the crease in the outer V area, and then I'll start blending. It's kind of like a candied pink, like candied pink, candied red, where it's not a true like red and it's not a pink. It's just in between. The shade name is Stalking though. But just thinking about the things that I've missed. Miss being able to do just the stuff that I'm like, I have a very extensive kitchen collection because I've enjoyed cooking for so many years now, that to not be able to just come home and make dinner, and it's so weird to me. Granted, I'll get home and I'll like get into my cooking groove, but then there's times where I'm just kind of like, I don't want to cook, I just want to order something, and I kind of get burned out from cooking. Not having the ability to do that for so long, I miss it. I will be happy to be back like close to friends. I've already talked to Jamie, like we're kind of talking about like trips that we want to do and stuff, but we can't confirm anything because I do have a trip that Emily and I we're going to be back in Europe in October. I'm going as her date for a wedding, but there's other trips that Jamie and I want to do, and some that I want to do, and I've already got family that is planning on coming to visit when I get back. So for me, there's things that I can plan for and I'm looking forward to, but there's some things that I will miss. I will miss things here in Europe and Germany and the things I've gotten to see and do. This weekend, I did not have a trip. Emily invited me to go with her to Dublin, but I've already been to Dublin, so I didn't want to go back. I was like, you know what, I'll just take this weekend to kind of relax, do what I wanted to do, recharge, prep taxes, because those are not fun at all. Okay, I'm gonna dive into the next shade while I ramble. I'm gonna go into the shade Mulled Wine. I'm gonna pick this up on my compacted smudge brush. It is funny that I'm just now using this because their Lovers palette for Valentine's just came out, which I ordered, and I was like, oh, I need to play around with this palette. So I'm trying to get caught up on the palettes that I have purchased in preparation for ones that I just recently purchased and will eventually arrive here. So this just has some purplish to it. It's a little bit deeper than Stalking, but it's got some like purpley hues to it. I have to ask, anyone else read or listened to the Fourth Wing series? I kept getting told like, hey, you need to read this book. It's really good. The series is like exceptional. I do like fantasy and, you know, dragons and war, and it's a pastime. I love to read, but I also can't bring myself to like buy books and then have to ship them home. So I was downloading them on, the Libby app, because with the military, we have like a library program, so I can check some of them out on my phone, on the Kindle app for free. Granted, there's always a wait list like a library. But then I was Also on Spotify, you can also listen to audiobooks and stuff, which I've been doing. That's how I've been listening to them. I was getting them on my Kindle, but then I feel like I'm just staring at my phone all the time. So I wanted to give myself a little bit of a break from that. But I've been listening to Audible, not sponsored. I downloaded the Audible app because I ran out of time. So Spotify has it where you can listen to audiobooks, but you only get, I want to say it's like 15 hours a month, depending on your subscription. And I was trying to expand it so I could like continue listening. I was having issues. My phone, all of it was just not working. So I re-downloaded Audible. I am not sponsored, but in the past I've had an Audible account, listened to books that way. Guys, I'm getting the skipping right here because my eyes are old. My lids have crinkles, whatever you want to call them. So I'm just trying to smooth that out. But I re-downloaded it, and I was listening to Fourth Wing. Well, I got to the point, I think I finished listening to it in like 4 days, pretty quickly. So now I'm on to Iron Flame, and I know there's a third book that just came out, but I do like listening to, I find myself, if I watch a TV show, then I get distracted and I don't do things I need to do, like laundry, or because I want to see the details. Whereas with a book, when I'm listening to it, they're explaining the details and I can picture it. And I am a visual thinker. I've always been like that. If you describe something to me, sometimes it's probably interesting. My imagination will run away. But I do like listening to an audiobook, and I can do my laundry and I can picture it. I don't have to look at my iPad or my laptop because I don't have a TV here. I'm watching all of it on my iPad or my phone. So of course, screen time. You guys, that is so pretty. I'm gonna have to clean that up right there. But I'm loving how this shade is looking right now. I am gonna take my brush. I'm gonna go in on the shade Ribbon, that very pale, it looks like it has a hue of pink, but it leans white. And I'm gonna put that on the edge and just kind of smoke that out a little bit. I say smoke, blend it. Otherwise it just looks very harsh. But I have been binge listening to Fourth Wing, which I finished this morning. And then now I'm on to Iron Flame. I'm on the 4th or 5th chapter post working out. I want your recommendations. What books or book series do you think I should look into? Before Fourth Wing, I listened to Outlander. I do watch the show, but I've completed the series of Outlander. I'm now on to Fourth Wing. I do like fantasy. I've even thought about listening to the Harry Potter audiobooks. I read those when I was a teenager. I was in my 20s. My cousin was a teenager. But I'm interested in your recommendations. I know I could go on BookTok or whatever. I can look at all the high recommendations and whatnot. But I'm interested to know what you guys would suggest. I do also, General Mattis had a book. Listened to that when I was on a cruise one time. So I'm not just strictly fantasy or fiction. I don't mind nonfiction as well. But if you guys have book recommendations, let me know. We're going to go into the shade Cranberries. This one I'm going to pick up on my middle finger to place in the center. Ooh, so pretty. So it looks red on my eyes. Does it look orange to you guys? But even if you guys, maybe you have a TV series that you're into, or I want recommendations. I've been watching the new Dexter and also Irrational. Those TV shows are really good. And now into the shade Tinsel. I'm gonna pick that one up on my ring finger. But I do like listening to an audiobook because I actually come back to my room and listening to the audiobook. I'm finding myself cleaning my room and just still listening to the book and not distracted by what's on the iPad. I accomplish more that way. I really like how that's blending together. This palette is kind of like big, so I'm trying not to block the eye. I like how it's very pale down here and has like the yellowy orange, but then you've got the red, burgundy, and orangey hues. They're just blending so beautifully together. So there's part of me that thinks that this shade should have been deeper, darker, kind of like a burgundy, not so pink. I'm gonna go ahead and do this eye, some base products. I'll be back because there are 2 cream blushes and lipsticks. Okay, so I've done all my base products, but I do have some blush that's cream, so I have not set this part of my face. So I want to go ahead, do the blush, and then we'll go back into the eyes. Now, there are 2 shades. There is Nutmeg and Mary. Mary is more of like a pinky, like red, kind of cranberry. Whereas Nutmeg looks like it's a little more on the brown side. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but then again, the Huda Beauty blush filters, or yes, blush filters, they've taught me that the shade in the pan or in the bottle or on the brush is not necessarily the shade it might be. So let's go ahead and swatch Nutmeg first. Okay, so that does have a little bit of like a brownish tan shade to it. Don't think that's like the blush I'm looking for. And then Mary. See, and that's the shade I would go for more. And now I'm bummed that I swatched this because I was like, there's someone out there that would probably love this. I will offer it to one of my friends when I get home. I'm sure there is someone that would like to have it in their collection. So we are going to dive into Mary. So I set my under eye area, but not the rest of my cheek because I knew I wanted to try the cream blush, but I didn't want to powder and then it just disturb it. So we're going to slowly build this up. And I've never tried blushes from Cosmic Beauty before. It is really nice. It does have a sheen that I think once I put setting powder on it is going to kind of like mute it down a little bit and keep it in place. It does have a really pretty berry flush. Really like that. I'm interested to see once I put powder on, like how it tones it down. This kind of gives me the like rosy cheeks after being outside in the snow or the cold for a long time. Like that's the vibe I'm getting from this. I think I powdered my nose already, so it doesn't look like it's disturbed it at all. So maybe it is good on top of powder too. Okay, so set, it is mattified down, still got a little bit of a sheen without it being set. So maybe if you have it where your skin is dry and you want to add in that flush of little bit of sheen, this is probably like, if you like a glowy blush, you might like this. I just know that I have to set everything because my makeup likes to move around and get very glowy. Okay, now we need to finish off the under eye. And I did go ahead with the beauty wipe to just kind of clean it up a little bit. It is gonna get flared out a little bit more once I start putting in some colors underneath. We're gonna skip the shade ribbon. It is way too pale. I'm gonna dive into the shade Stocking. A little compacted smudge brush. I'm just gonna tap it into place before I start blending it out. And I'm gonna have it more compacted towards the outer V area by the inner corner. And now into the shade Mulled Wine. I'm not going too far in, I'm just keeping the packing of the color to the outer V area. And then on my larger compacted smudge brush, I'm gonna pat it on the outer edge and then get the shade back. Just trying to fix the shape because I think I took this one a little bit further in than I wanted to than this one. Just making sure that they match. Okay, I've got to go do, actually, we need a highlight. And we have the shade Celebrate, which I think would be gorgeous. So we'll dip into this shade right here. I've got my little pencil brush. That's just going to go in the inner corner. I need my silicone brush for this one. I didn't want to pick up on the dry brush. Yeah, that worked much better. Some eyeshadows, especially shimmers, prefer to be applied with a finger or a silicone brush. And this is one of those shades. But I think it gives it a really good pop with the silicone application. Now, let's see if it'll pick up on my highlighter brush to do with the brow bone. This seems to have picked up there. Let's see what it looks like as a highlighter. Ooh, that is really pretty. I love using my eyeshadows as highlighters just to give something cohesive, and I don't always go through my eyeshadow palettes quite like I would like to. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do brows, liner, mascara. I will be back for lips. Okay, you guys, there were 2 lipsticks in the collection. The first one is not my favorite. The shade is Ginger Snap. I'm not even gonna swatch this because I already can tell you that it's not my shade. This is probably going in the giveaway box. I know what I like, and that is not one of those shades. But the shade Santa Baby, which I'm like, is it gonna go with this eye look? Probably not. I don't know that I've ever done like a pinky magenta with a red, but I mean, it is very creamy. And there's part of me that's like, ooh, like let's play with it, but that is too bold for like this eye look. And so I'm gonna hold on to this because I do like the shade. And I feel like if I had like a neutral brown, like I could do that for work tomorrow. And then this red, that'd be gorgeous. But I don't know that that's what I'm feeling with this eye look. So let me figure out my lips and I'll be back with the final look. Okay, you guys, I'm back and this is the final look. I do like how my lips look with this eye look. I think the red would have been too overpowering, and I do like maintaining the focus on my eyes. It is one of my favorite things to do, is playing around with eyeshadows, having fun with colors, especially because I don't get to do it that often. You guys are gonna have to let me know, what do you think of this color story? I feel like the Cosmic Beauty 'Tis the Season palette is a lot of fun, beautiful shades. I am glad that I played around with this bottom row. I do feel like this third row with all the purples would be absolutely stunning. I'm excited to play around and have some fun with the rest of this palette and see what I can come up with. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm so glad I have it in my collection. I am looking forward to their new release, and when that shows up, doing a video for it. Now, I do like the blush. The one that I used today was Mary. I feel like the packaging just has all the fingerprints, you guys. But Mary is a beautiful berry shade. I think that it just had a really nice glowy effect, and then when I set it with setting powder, it just kind of toned it down a little bit. It's so pretty. I don't know about Nutmeg. I will have to play around with this and see, you know, maybe mix it with Mary and see what I can come up with. It's more of a brownish tan, and I don't know if that's just the vibe I'm going for, but it's all about playing around, mixing some shades maybe, just to see what I can come up with. But you guys, you're gonna have to let me know, did you pick up this collection? Are you passing on it? I think it is still available on their website. I didn't see anything saying it was limited edition, but if you have not tried out Cosmic Beauty, I highly encourage you to go and check them out. Their palettes are very affordable. They are a beauty brand out of the UK, and I absolutely love the palettes I have in my collection. Now you guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell for notifications of new videos. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Until my next video, you guys, bye. I'll see you in the next one.